Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Tamara. Yes, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. To all my new listeners, new episodes drop every Thursday. I usually talk about my life, my interests, and the ways I'm trying to grow. So come on back through. And for all my day 1, 2, 77, 123, 145, whatever week you came in and stuck with me, thank you so much for your continued support. If you're not, you should totally follow me on social media, and the link to that is in the episode notes. And if you're not, you should totally subscribe to my YouTube channel. New episodes, usually 95% of the time, are uploaded to the YouTube channel at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday. So that's one reason you should subscribe to my YouTube channel. But also, if you have a channel, I'll subscribe back. So it's mutually beneficial, you feel me? So let's go ahead and get into this week's Tamara's Takeaway segment. So yesterday I went to Target before going to pick the girls up from work, which, side note, not related to the story, but there's just something about Target. I don't know if it's the lighting, and I've seen people say this on social media, but I go to both Target and Walmart, depending on whatever. There's just something about Target that makes me want to spend money even if I don't have it. So if I don't have it, it makes me wish that I had the money to spend. There's just something about it that is an inviting place that really makes you want to just support all that they have going on, right? So I went there to get, I don't even remember what, that's irrelevant. I went there, I'm walking around, I'm looking at other stuff because other things were just calling to me and just vying for my attention and vying for my money, right? And so because of that, it made me late picking the girls up from work. So as a kind of peace offering or whatever, even though they didn't say a word, but I felt bad that I was late picking them up. So I'm like, well, do y'all want some Dunkin Donuts? They're like, yes. Okay, cool. So there is a Dunkin Donuts near their job. And so I went there first because, it's on the way home and all that good stuff. I go up to the drive-thru or whatever, and they say their standard Dunkin Donuts greeting or whatever that they say at typical drive-thrus to get your order. And I'm like, yeah, the girls had said they wanted glazed donuts. So I'm like, can I get 2 glazed donuts? And then I was kind of looking to see what kind of donut I wanted. And this man was like, we're out of donuts. And I was like, for real? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess thank you. And I drove off. Okay, so we tried to go to that Dunkin' Donuts closest to their job. There were no donuts. So, okay. So I go on GPS and I'm like, where is there another Dunkin' Donuts that's nearby? Because I really wanted some donuts. And so I go to the next Dunkin' Donuts and I pull up to the drive-thru and I'm just kind of sitting there and nobody's saying anything. So I'm like, So I wait a little bit or whatever, and I'm just waiting. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe they didn't hear the little noise that's made when you go through the drive-thru or whatever, because I used to work in drive-thru many years ago at Taco Bell. So I know you're going to hear something when people pull up. I was like, okay, maybe they didn't hear that. So I back up and I pull back forward and I'm still sitting there and no one ever says anything. And I'm like, bruh, I know they're open. Their lights are on. The sign is on. Okay, maybe somebody's in the restroom, or I don't know, because I've noticed a lot of places are short staffed or whatever. So I'm like, okay, should I go to a different place or should I just go in, or what should I do? There weren't any other Dunkin' Donuts that were close. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and do what I didn't feel like doing, which is get out the car and go in or whatever. So we pull up and I was like, bruh, I don't feel like going in. And Kayliana's like, well, I'll go in because I'm about to be like, were you open? Did you hear? And I'm like, No, 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 that's okay. I'll go in because, when I go to restaurants or whatever, I really make it a point to not talk to people crazy or whatever just because they are in control of the food that I eat. You know what I'm saying? They are doing whatever. And I won't say where and I won't say when and I won't say who, but once upon a time, many, many years ago, allegedly, I worked with someone in some establishment who they got mad at their customer. Now, I will say that we were waitresses. They got mad at their customer and they spit in their salad. And it's just something that has stuck with me ever since. I would never, like, that is literally so disgusting. But because I allegedly saw that someone allegedly did that, it's just something that stuck with me ever since. So I'm like, when I go to restaurants or whatever, and it's probably just my waitressing experience in general. I really try to be kind to waitresses and just understanding, or people in fast food or any type of restaurant situation, because y'all have control over what's going to happen with my food. Yes, you should be doing the right thing, but as I told y'all what I allegedly saw, it don't always go that way. You feel me? So I'm like, no, that's okay. I'll go in. I see the people in there, so I'm like, okay, I'm not tripping. They're clearly open because the lights are on, the sign is on, and all that good stuff. I look at the door, the hours are open. I go to pull the door to open it, and it's locked. And so I get back in my car and I'm just kind of sitting there and I'm just looking at them. I don't know what they're doing. There were three people in there. Clearly, they're not working, or I don't know why the door was locked and I couldn't get in. And so I'm just like, okay, well, then I remember that I had bought like a package of cinnamon rolls to bake, the other day. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just go home and I'll get cinnamon rolls, because the thing about when you go to like a grocery store or something like that, because I was debating if I wanted to do that, but the thing about that is that they make their donuts really, really early in the morning, and so then by like 6 o'clock at night, them donuts been sitting out all day. I didn't really feel like doing that, so I decided to just bake the cinnamon rolls that I remember that I had bought or whatever. But Tamara's takeaway from this experience is Dunkin' Donuts, if you're quitting and you don't want to be in the donut franchise, whatever anymore, and you don't want people to come to you to get donuts, just say that, because ain't no way that I should have gone to two different Dunkin' Donuts in two different parts of town to try to be a patron of your business, and one, y'all ain't got no donuts. Like, what? Okay, I guess maybe they had a good business day. Good for y'all or whatever. But then for the other one to be open, and I mean, when I pulled up to the drive-through, you could have said, "Hey, I don't know what y'all were doing and why you weren't open or what was going on," but you could have said that. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all are quitting the donut game and you don't want to be a part of it anymore, then just say that. You feel me? So, guys, this week has been a struggle. Like, it's really interesting because I haven't done a grief journal episode in a while. And I don't think I'm going to bring them back in the way that I did, where I do an entire episode related to grief, because oftentimes when I'm really, really dealing with my grief anyway, it's not when I'm on the mic. It's usually when I'm laying down, try to go to sleep or whatever. But lately, there have just been so many things that have just been triggering grief. For those of y'all that don't know, 7.5 years ago, my ex-husband slash my daughters, their dad was killed. And so this is the grief that I'm referring to. And there will be many different things that'll trigger it. Of course, like milestones that the girls have had or whatever, like their high school graduations, or my youngest turned 19, so then it's like everybody's adults, or just little things. But then there's like if a father dies or something like that, that triggers it. And then there's just, I don't even know. Like, grief is weird like that. And for those of y'all who have experienced any type of grief, which I've experienced other grief, but that's the one that kind of hits closest to home, because not only is it my grief, but then it's my daughter's grief. You know what I'm saying? And so then there's my grief, but then there's me watching them have to experience different things and have to try to navigate it and deal with it and accept it and struggle with it and just all the things that go along with grief. And so it's just been really, really wild. And I don't even know what happened yesterday, but I was sitting here and I was trying to work, and I don't know, I was just like really, really overcome with grief. And I was at the end of, whatever work I was doing. So I'm kind of glad for that. And then I just decided that I was just going to go ahead and not do anything else I had planned. And I just kind of laid down and I was just kind of there and just kind of thinking or whatever. And I decided to go ahead and just kind of let myself cry, because the thing with crying is I don't like crying, even though I know it cleanses, I know it's healthy and all those things, but I've never been a fan of crying ever. And even the fact that I allow myself to cry now is like growth, because before I used to not even do that. But I decided that I was just gonna, since I was feeling this and it wasn't something that I could really shake, and it's something that's kind of been just like weaving in the darkness because there's been a lot of deaths lately, either, celebrities or whatever, and it'll just be all over social media, or just people here and it'll still be all over social media, you know what I mean? And so I decided to just, okay, here we are. I'm in this moment, whatever. And I'm just like, the thing that I remember thinking, because with, their dad getting killed or whatever, he was riding with somebody who got caught up in some stuff and someone started shooting at them, and that's how he died. So that's the short version. But I remember talking to his girlfriend at the time after the fact, and just her saying that, like, she had told him to just get on the bus because she was in the hospital and he was supposed to be coming up to the hospital to see her. He had been at the hospital with her and then literally just went home to go. I think they had a cat, so like do whatever with the cat and change clothes and all that stuff. And his friend was giving him a ride and he was telling her this, and she had said, "No, you should just get on the bus." And he was like, "No, it'll be quicker to get a ride, and then, the rest is history," or whatever. And so like last night when I was like in my grief, I just remember thinking like, "Bruh, like why didn't you just get on the bus?" You know what I'm saying? Like I really wish you would have just got on the bus, and you didn't, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't know, grief is always just this interesting thing where like the most random things will trigger it. The holidays definitely trigger it because you think about who's not around and all this stuff. The crazy thing though is that it's kind of like you don't ever forget, but it's kind of like I'll have these moments. The way I like to describe it is like I forget to remember. So it's kind of like I don't know, I can't explain it. It's like it's not like I ever forgot what's going on. It's not like I didn't think about it in some way, shape, or form that day. But in some moments, it's just like you remember more strongly. And I'm like, bruh, this dude really ain't here. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just lately, I've really been wrestling with that like more than I have. I don't know what's causing it. The weather also sucks, and so it's been like really gloomy, like just in general. So I felt like more drained or whatever. This client project that I've told y'all, and it's not even just this client project. Any of y'all that follow me on social media and pay attention to either my Tamara the Dawn Inc. social media or Melon Intoxicate social media, but specifically Tamara the Dawn Inc. social media, because it's definitely been probably over a month since I've posted any content to that page. And it's just, I don't know, it's just been a struggle with that. It's really wild because it started with I couldn't blog. So that started in like October. I had not blogged in like 3 months. And then finally this week, for the first time in I don't know how long, I was actually doing something else and just felt like, "Oh, I can blog, like I could write. Like what? Let me hurry up and write this and put it up." And so it's just been really interesting because I don't even know what the struggle was with writing, with content creation. It's like it started with those no, I take that back. It started with writing, then it started with struggling with this client project that I'm doing, like being behind on that. And that's writing as well because it's SOP writing. So all of these things are related to like writing or creating or whatever. And then from there, once I got behind, it kind of was like, okay, well, let me pause my content for my company because, I want to get this client project together. And then it became, let me pause Melon Intoxicate content for the same thing. I want to get this client project done. But then it became with the client project, like I would sit here and I've written so many SOPs for this particular client in general. So we're not even going to get into stuff I've done for other people, stuff I've done for my company or whatever. But I've written so many manuals for this particular client, and I will just like sit at this screen and just like struggle, which kind of leads me into my weekly wisdom for this week, like what the Lord has been teaching me in the last week is that it's okay to struggle. You know what I'm saying? You don't always have to know why, you don't always have to understand why. But I had to have like an honest conversation with my client the other day where I was just like, I don't really know what's been going on with me because the project is late. Like, and she's not like rude or anything. She is probably the most understanding person when it comes to this. But I had to tell her because, like, she'll as she should, she'll, hey, where are things at? Just kind of check in. Because at this point, it's kind of like I'm the holdup, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like I'm doing it on purpose. But I had to tell her, I'm like, I don't know what the heck is going on, but I have really just been struggling. Now, one, I am a lot busier than I was when all of this began. Because when all of this began, I wasn't even doing the subcontracting work that I'm doing, right? And then it's like someone else has to review it and get back whatever, and so the people and the powers that be that had to review it took forever, and so then by the time they came back with reviewing all the documents, then not only did I have subcontracting clients, but I had taken more subcontracting clients, and then even since then I've taken more because like now I have bills and I need to be able to make sure I have not only the money to pay my bills, but also like y'all know I gotta rebuild everything and like buy all this furniture and whatnot. And so I had to really just like have this conversation with her and super apologetic. Again, she's very understanding, but with that, I had to, before I even had this conversation with her, I had to be okay with the fact that I was struggling. And I struggle with that. Like, I struggle with the fact that I am behind because that is not me when it comes to work, deadlines, whatever. This is literally the first time in my life, no lie, where I'm doing something work related, which makes it even wilder because it's like my company. You know what I'm saying? But this is the first time in life where I'm ever doing something work related and I'm behind on it. And then not only am I behind on it, but it was just like this struggle to even get momentum to like I would literally sit here and just struggle and wrestle with so many different things. Like first being frustrated at the fact that they took forever to get back with whatever to where when they get back to it, then I'm busy. Then being frustrated with the fact that I'm behind. Then being frustrated with the fact that this is causing me to like not be able to do content in other areas or whatever just because I'm trying to be responsible with my time. Like going to meet with clients, okay, I have to do that. But like my content, that's really my own thing. That's really me establishing my own brand and all that good stuff. So it's kind of like, yeah, it sucks that I haven't been able to put content out, but at the end of the day, I'm the only one affected by that. No one else is affected by that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm getting paid to whatever. But then let's go there. I had to turn down another previous client reaching out to me to do some content creation because I can't take on something else and I still haven't finished this freaking SOP project. And so it's just been this crazy journey, though, where at the end of all of it, I had to first be okay with struggling. You know what I'm saying? Even last night, when I was having my moments with grief and at first I tried to just like press through it and keep working and act like it wasn't bothering me. And I literally had to like almost like feel the Lord say, like, it's okay to be sad. It's okay that you're not okay right now with the fact that he's not here. You know what I'm saying? There's so many times where I usually will try to just go and see the bright side in things and rationalize and understand, And while in some ways that can be healthy, it can be problematic if I'm doing that at the sake of actually addressing and embracing and feeling whatever it is that I need to feel in that moment. So, man, my encouragement to y'all is if you're struggling, it is okay. You know what I'm saying? Sit with that for a minute. Don't try to numb it, don't try to escape it. Sit with it, embrace it, and for me, I really, in that moment, especially like with the grief and even with this struggling with this client project, struggling with my inability to write, just all these struggles, for me, I've, had a lot of conversation with the Lord with all of that. And I'm not even going to say I have an understanding on why this has happened at all. You know what I'm saying? But what I have come to the understanding and I guess have embraced is that it's okay to struggle. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make me any less than because for whatever reason I'm struggling. Because usually, no matter what my struggles, it has never affected, it still hasn't affected this podcast, and it's not going to because this is my therapeutic creative outlet. So it's not going to affect the podcast, but I really prided myself in the fact that no matter what, it didn't affect work, it didn't affect content. Like no one outwardly could tell whenever I was struggling because everything, was business as usual. And so the fact that I haven't been able to have business as usual has been extremely humbling, but that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't always have to be business as usual. Sometimes it needs to not be business as usual so that you can deal with whatever it is that you need to deal with, address whatever it is that you need to address, or whatever, and however the situation goes, or depending on what's going on. So that's my encouragement to y'all is that it's okay to struggle and, go to God with that. That's usually my go to. If you're not someone who has a relationship with the Lord, then go to journaling, go to a trusted friend, a therapist, whatever it is that you need to do to sort that out. But don't pretend like you're okay when you're not. And don't try to numb it or stuff it because the thing about it is it's going to come out in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? Those feelings are there for whatever reason. So embrace it, address it, and do what you got to do. So that's all I got for y'all this week. I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Make sure you take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Be healthy in your relationships, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for Tamara.